Hello, hello, hello. Howdy, hey, howdy, ho, greetings. Greetings, travelers. 'Tis I, the absolute DM. Yes, Porktoberfest coming up soon. Saw it. I was like, hey, Heavenly Buddha's here. Hello. Just barely made it in time, my friend. Welcome. Glad you're here, buddy. Logan Music, Abner, Yachty, Random Bit, Bot. How you guys doing? Oh, shucks, Bitbot. Oh, hush now. You flatter me. You flatter me. How you guys doing? I'm drinking my milkshake, Nutritional Plus. It tastes nutritious and strawberry-like. Sorry, guys. While we're waiting for people blowing, I'm gonna chug this down. Yummy, yum, yum. 5 cats made it just in time. What's going on, friendo? How you doing, buddy? Stout Shaker just dropped in to say, I love your stuff before I head out. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love having you here to watch my stuff. Truly a privilege. Logie, you know, gotta get them nutrients, them vitamins and minerals. Big boy's gotta get his nutrition on. I'm a growing boy, a growing lad. Big boy's gotta eat. And for tonight's beverage, we are, of course, enjoying the Clear American sparkling water, which I will be sipping on over the course of our discussion tonight, our campaign diary. Heavenly Buddha says, I drew some weapons. Heck yeah. Post them in the Discord server of legends. Link in the description. You draw some neato weapons, my friend. Looking forward to seeing them. So today, we have campaign diary for the most recent session of my Elder Vale campaign, my Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. Y'all know why you're here. The adventure of Rhonda, Morgaine, Brighthofson, and Leah continues in the town of Hogwood, near the entrance to the Elder Vale, the mysterious valley ruled by, of course, the evil, nefarious Netherin Daz. How did our heroes fare in the most recent session when they delved into the snorting thicket? We will soon talk about it and find out. Giving a little bit more time for people to blow in here. Once people are all situated, then I'm going to go ahead and get rolling. This stream will probably be a little bit shorter than the last one. I hope to get the story to you guys, the diary to you in a concise manner. Pretty short stream, maybe like an hour, I hope. It'll probably go longer because I ramble, but, you know, I don't want it to be super duper long. Because for people who want to watch the VOD, I don't want it to be super crazy, you know, super rambly. You know what I'm saying? Yes, very close to the Enforcer's debut, 5Cat. Very close. We'll talk about that. I need to do one more world building stream, which I'll probably do next week. So stay tuned on the Discord server of Legends, and stay tuned to my main channel's community posts that'll tell you when the next campaign building stream will be, because we got to plan the next session. In terms of Netherin Daz and his attack on the town of Hogwood. By the way, I finally fixed my microphone audio. I should be sounding a lot better to you guys right now. Less buzzy, less harsh on the ears. A lot smoother, I hope. Let me know if it sounds good to you. Medical Beam says, do I smell hogs? Yes, you do. It's a hoggy kind of day. Yes. Oh, Logie says, hope the computer lasts. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, my last stream last week, I did Fight Night VR, boxing game on VR. Had a lot of fun, but my computer started having some issues. Right now, it looks fine, and I ran like 3 different test streams earlier today, and it all seemed to work fine. Must have just my PC must have just been under the weather. So pray for my PC. Appeal to the divines. Hopefully, they bless it today. If the stream starts getting stupid, I will just go off the air and make it a video summarizing the campaign session, you know, like I did before. But I hope to get through this whole session with my PC working out just fine. So, you know, we'll hope for the best here. Audio is smooth as a criminal. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, Five Cats, I didn't have to actually do anything. I just restarted, cleared my, you know, temporary files, and let it rest the night, and over the weekend I let it rest. I don't know what the problem was. I truly don't. I think it had something to do with connecting my VR headset. Got it all choked up. I don't know, but we're back here, and it seems fine, so we're just gonna keep running with it as long as we can. I'm probably gonna buy upgrades to my PC at some point. My CPU needs to be bolstered, and some more RAM. I need some RAM, guys. I need to install more RAM. Download some more RAM. Remember to praise the karma system for good luck. That's true. Yachty random karma system, guys. Bless up. Praise the karma system. We love the karma system. We would be nowhere without the karma system. We would be lost, truly. Actually, what's left from the last campaign building stream? Is it just the Hog Fest itself? As far as I mean, we came up with a lot of stuff in the few campaign building streams we've done so far. A lot of far-reaching content. But in terms of stuff that's going to happen real soon, Hog Fest has not happened yet. It's about to happen probably, hopefully, maybe next session. We'll see. But once I get through discussing this, you know, campaign diary, once we're done through here, we're going to move on to, well, you know, I'll tell you where the session's going to go. The next session's going to go. And we're going to do the world building stream sometime and get more stuff laid out in front of the party. But we do have Hogfest coming up. Abner, if your PC is slow, could be hardware. Just a good dusting may work. Yeah, I do need to dust it up. That actually is I thank you for your reminder on Discord. I do need to dust my PC. It's a bit dusty like chat. At you. Rundown detail. Yeah, we're going to give it to you. People are blowing in here. What's up, CPR? Welcome. Glad you're here. Audio is smooth as a baby's bottom. Why is that a saying? Well, because baby bottoms are smooth. Obviously. Praise karma, you know, guys. All right. So let's get into it. Let's start discussing the most recent session. I do have some notes here, but of course, as usual, I am a disorganized wreck. So you will have to bear with me as I flounder through my hastily thrown together notes that I don't even have up on my screen yet because I am a disorganized mess. You'll have to bear with me, but we all have come to expect this by now. We all know how it is, and I don't have all the notes written, again, just like last time. So there's some parts I'm just going to have to go off the rails a little. But should be fine. Let me pull up a little picture of the party here so that we can remember who we're dealing with. Ah, there we go. There's the gang. Let me switch on over. There's the gang we all know and love. All right. Record the session in audio. It will serve as notes. I do record my session audio. You won't hear it because the players are not comfortable with being live on the air or being broadcast to YouTube. Save for a few audio bites. They give me permission to like show you some audio bites. I didn't find any super worth sharing this time, but yeah, I listen to my own session notes or my session audio afterward for note taking and stuff. So it's pretty fresh on my mind. But here we go. Here's the gang. To give you a refresher on our heroes, we have, of course, Rhonda Lofton, the human paladin of Paylor, played by my wife, Kirsten. She's rough and tough and ready for a good old-fashioned scrap anytime. We've got Morgaine, the green dragonborn druid, Circle of the Moon, a dragonborn who has suffered prejudice from humankind in the past, and now seeks to find her way in the world as a hero. We've got Bright Hofson, the halfling monk, the boy, the wacky boy himself, the monkey, graduated from monkey school. As you guys remember, he has a master's degree in the monkey martial arts. And of course, we have Leah, the wood elf ranger beast conclave. She's a pet wolf who still doesn't have a name. And because the party is convinced that Netherin does, uses their names as power. They will not share the name of this wolf. Leah refuses to share the name. Morgane is played by my wife's sister, my sister-in-law. Hoff is played by Morgane's husband. So these two are a married couple in real life. And Leah is played by my mother-in-law. So super cool stuff. Playing D&D with family and extended family is it can be wacky time, but these players have shown that they are super cool so far. Really, they're really into it. They are, as far as new players go, blowing me away. Like they're doing so well. They're catching on, and they're learning how the game flows, and being just real cool, respectful players, and having a great time. And yeah, they're really into it. So good stuff. No reaction to the Boar King. The reaction to the Boar King was kind of stretched out over a period, so I didn't really get, you know, there's no like, whoa, there's no one moment where they're like, bah, you know. Also, I didn't make it that far in my note-taking because I didn't have time, so I could probably isolate the Boar King reaction and maybe send you a soundbite on the Discord. I'll see about doing that afterward, actually. Yes, the human that failed to lie about her name, Paladin Flaws, always telling the truth. Exactly. Yeah, they all made fake names, and Rhonda, my wife, immediately fucked up her fake name, Lacey. She went to the barkeeper and was just like, I'm Rhonda. Oh, crap. And Morgane is Lizard right now. She's known as Lizard, which is a derogatory term for Dragonborns. And she just took it as her new name. And then Hoff, Logie, says, humph. Yes, he's humph. And new people just think he's being very unfriendly. And then Leah's fake name is Susie. So Susie, Lacey, Lizard, and Humph. That's the party right now. And then the unnamed wolf companion for Susie. DMD runs in our blood. It's true. Well, I mean, none of them are my blood relatives, but it runs in their blood anyway. It runs in our family. It runs in the bonds that we share. It's true. It's true. Maybe it's more accurate to say that D&D is contagious. And Crate of Hate is here. Hello, my friend. Welcome. So glad you're here. Great to have you aboard. I just briefed everybody, reminded everyone on the party who we got here. The crew is all here. So let me remind you guys where we are in the adventure, where we were last time. Our adventurers were in Hogwood. They learned about Hogwood, about the upcoming Hogfest, Hogtoberfest, as we call it. They met Barkeep Joe. They met Moira McAllen, the assistant to the mayor, who is in charge of putting together Hogfest. The party did some chores for Moira, earned the trust of the town a little bit, helped prepare for Hogfest a little bit. In exchange for information from Moira, they wanted to find Cecil Dosette, the old mentor to former hero, rest in peace, Tanner Harsk, who was one of 4 previous heroes of the Elder Vale. So Tanner Harsk was from this area and was the one who originally contacted the heroes in the Adventurers Guild and then promptly died. And so the party wants to know what happened to Tanner Harsk kind of before, what he was up to here in the Elder Vale, here in Hogwood, before he had headed out and found them and, you know, died. So they need to find Cecil. Moira said that she would tell them where he is if they help her, so they did. She told him where the old man was, the old swordsman who looks like this, kind of. This was the example image I used for him. He wasn't strapped with swords, but he, you know, was an old grizzled sort of swordsman veteran. And so that's where the last session ended. That's where the previous session ended. You guys can go watch the previous campaign diary VOD if you want to hear the full story on that. But this session began right where the last one left off. The party had just encountered yes, they began at Cecil's residence, who just kicked the party out, and the pigs had just escaped into the snorting thicket, and Moira McAllen had gathered up some farmhands to set out into the forest and retrieve them. So that's where they left off, and that's where we're starting our campaign diary entry for today. Yes, he came at the perfect time. Crate of Hate. D&D runs in mine. Dunkin' Donuts. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, the party was reminded that the snorting thicket is split into 2, with the closer half being the primary sort of hunting and gathering grounds for hogwood, and where a lot of hogwood pigs were originally captured and domesticated or just hunted. And the back half of the Snorting Thicket is sectioned off and fenced off and off limits, closed away to the general public due to being too dangerous and too spooky. There's some bad things back there. No one actually knows what's back there because it's been closed off for like generations since, you know, Hogwood was sort of founded. However long ago it was founded. You know, 100 years ago or whatever. So no one knows what's back there. But Tanner Harsk frequented that back half. Cecil doesn't know anything about why Tanner was going to hang out back there, but he knows that Tanner Harsk frequented the dangerous part of the Snorting Thicket, and that Tanner Harsk didn't say anything about that place except that he had a friend back there called the Lord of the Forest. Who is the Lord of the Forest? We don't know. We know, though. We know who it is, or what it is. So that was the quest that lie ahead of them, to go into the Snorting Thicket and bring back the pigs, because without the pigs, we can't have Hogfest. And the moral of the story is Hogfest must go on. So that was their quest. Medical meme, are you really a swordsman if you aren't strapped at all times? That's true. He probably wasn't like this when he answered the door, but the swords are probably like right inside the door, you know, like ready for him to grab if he needs to. So, you know, he probably is strapped to a degree for sure. Five Cat says, the party thinks Netherin plan is based around names, and during the final encounter, the party says, you'll never get the names of everyone, and Netherin just gets really confused. Yes. That's true. The reason why they latched onto that is because in the very first session when Netherin first met them, he was like, oh, what are your names? And they're like, don't tell him our names, guys. And I'm like, no, he just wants to know your names, guys. He's just curious. So, after some deliberation, the party decided to set out that night through the thicket instead of taking a rest. They wanted to leave pronto, even though some of them took some damage from getting trampled by pigs during the stampede. And Morgane was down a second level spell slot from enlarging herself to round up some piggles. They said no rest. We gotta get into that forest. Gotta get in there, get them pigs back. The farm hands were slow to trust the party, but Moira helped convince them to go along with the adventurers into the thicket. There was a little brief interaction where Lizard, funny enough, being the one who doesn't really like humans and is not very friendly, actually walked up to the volunteers and was like, hello, we are the adventurers. Would you like to come into the forest with us and get the pigs back? And they're just like, we don't know you. Where are you from? She's like, oh, we're from outside the Vale. And they're like, oh, okay. But then Moira came in and was like, hey, you're going to listen to them. They're trustworthy folks. They're really good-hearted adventurers. So go along with them. You can trust them. So there was no trouble there. The group entered the Snorting Thicket. You know what? Let me get some mood music. How about I get some mood music? Some old Here's the music I played when they entered the Forbidden Woods. So they entered the Snorting Thicket as the sun was going down. Started getting real dark real quick because there's a very thick leafy canopy that covers this forest. Very little light gets in. Lots of mushrooms, lots of roots, lots of little truffle tracks and pig tracks, and they were on the trail. Heavenly Buddha says if you wanted to know their names, you could have just set up borders and make them go through paperwork while under the zone of truth. Yes, it's just true. Go through customs. No, but he probably already knows their name though, because of certain things he's got set up. Abner says had plans to make art, but now I have a job. We'll do some art on my free time. Hey, take your time. Congrats on the job though. Anyways, so the group went into the thicket. Spent a few hours walking through the woods, successfully tracking the pigs along the way to the end of the safe area. They got now it is nightfall. Night has fallen, and they reach the fence. Nothing really happened on the way there. There's a painted sign on this wooden fence saying "Danger, keep out." The fence was smashed open at one point with the pig tracks leading straight through it. So the pigs actually stormed through the woods and broke through the fence into the dangerous half of the snorting thicket, which is what the party was hoping to avoid. But so it is. So it is that they have to enter this dangerous area. The farmhands were not feeling confident enough to head through. They didn't trust the party enough, and they didn't trust themselves enough because they were told never to go back there. The party considered trying to persuade the farmhands, the volunteers, to come along. There's about a dozen or so healthy young men waiting to go in there. They might have been convinced to tag along with the party, but the party decided, nah, let's let them just camp out here. We'll go in, find the pigs, bring them back. You guys just camp here by the fence, and we'll be back soon with the pigs. And the farmhands were like, okay, cool. So they could have tried to persuade, but they decided to be nice and just let them be, which is cool. The forest is thick with vegetation. You know it. Yes, grab some popcorn. I don't have any, but I do have ice cream. Hey, next best thing. You got that right, Yachty. So, farmers be like, that ain't my job. You are the adventurers. Exactly. I'm not doing that. So, they left the farmhands behind to camp out. Set up a campfire, set up some tents. They're going to camp out the night while the party gets the pigs. The pigs went into the dangerous half, so the party is going in. The party went through, and I had them determine their marching order because it's just them now, and who knows what kind of spooky, dangerous things await. So, marching order is something important because let me see. Here we go. Let's move this pig. This actually wasn't their marching order at first. They changed up later, but basically something like this. I said, like, guys, put your miniatures however you want them to be lined up. This is the way you're kind of moving through. I think it was more like this before. Something like that, you know. Just so you can determine who gets attacked from the front. If it's a frontal assault, who gets ambushed from the back. If it's like a sneak attack ambush, you know. And basically that's how they maneuver through. This is a orc, which we'll get to why he's there later on. You guys can probably guess. But we had Morgaine and Leah in the front, Rhonda on one side, kind of. And, oh, Jesus. Sorry about that. The song is messed up. Morgaine had the bullseye lantern, which is like a spotlight lantern. And Rhonda in the back had her shield and a hooded lantern. She actually didn't have her weapon out. She had her shield and a lantern, which is smart, because if you're ambushed, you want to have your shield out, not a weapon. So you can get that defense up. And then on the first turn of combat, you can just set the lantern down, draw a hammer, and go at it. So there you go. Why is Hoff the Frightened? Oh, you know? Oh, yeah. I forgot. Yeah. Because he named himself that, because he was spooked by the forest, which is actually kind of ironic. It's not because as a halfling he's immune to fear, so he's technically not frightened, but he was definitely shaking his boots a little bit from the dark forest. Why is the archer leading the marching order? Because the archer is the ranger who is tracking the pigs and is the most alert to danger, so she's the sort of the front scout. Good point. Strategy would say that maybe the archer should go in the middle or in the back. But she's good with a short sword too, though. She's capable in a one-on-one melee confrontation, as we see soon from the first encounter. She actually got up close and personal at one point. She was kind of forced to, but yeah, she was scouting and tracking, so she was up front to lead the party. But so I had to pay attention to darkness and lighting, because only Leah has dark vision, which is another reason why she was leading. But Morgaine had the spotlight lantern, Rhonda had the hooded lantern, and they had enough light to proceed forward. So we move on to the first encounter of the night, which actually we can swoop back here, and this is what the first encounter looked like. This is the board. The party entered from down here. They looked about like, I think their marching order was actually more about like that. No. It was something like this when they enter this area. I have to look back, but you know, it was something roughly like that. And then at this point, spooky stuff started to happen. So this area was empty, and on my GM layer, you can do layer, GM layer, and you can have tokens like this where only you, the GM or DM, Game Master, Dungeon Master, interchangeable terms, can see. So I had these pig orcs hiding in these bushes, so they couldn't see that. The party was walking in. It just is a tree. It's not a dead tree. It's just we're looking X-ray through the leaves. Just a big tree in the center with these sort of bushes at these sort of points, and they did look a little out of place. I kind of wanted the party to be a little bit suspicious of them, but at the same time, I rolled a group stealth check for the orcs. They don't have a good stealth bonus. They have the same stats as orcs. I just used orcs for the stats. They don't have a great stealth bonus, but I gave them advantage because they know this area like the back of their hand. They have the ambusher's bonus, so to speak. And they didn't actually need advantage. They rolled a nat 20 on their group stealth check. So there is no way the party was going to see them with their passive perception. Passive perception, for those who don't know, is basically 10 plus perception bonus. It's basically your perception check if you're not taking a close look at things. It's just your general sort of passive awareness. So they weren't going to see shit unless they specifically told me I want to roll perception, in which case I would have, then there was a chance they might have seen them. But they rolled the orcs were very well hidden. But thanks to a certain someone in the party, their ambush did not go as planned. Abner says Ranger is one letter short from anger. It's true. It's true. Danglin says to think a pig-based economy would cause such shenanigans to ensue. It's true. You wouldn't expect it, but hey, there is some shenanigans afoot in all of the Elder Vale. Elder Vale is a very shenanigansy area. So, you gotta consider that as well. Yeah, so the party was not going to be able to initiate combat with the orcs themselves. They were basically walking right into an ambush, and I wanted some players to spring traps. I wanted some players to run into some snare traps. But if I just told them to start walking around the map and be like, tell me exactly where you're walking, that would have been too suspicious. So I just did a thing that I like to do sometimes called a luck roll. I said, just roll luck, which is just roll a flat d20, no bonuses, just see who is unlucky in that moment, who is unlucky enough to spring a trap. So I had everyone roll luck, flat d20, and I think I set the luck DC to 10. So anyone who rolls lower than a 10 is unfortunate enough to spring a trap. And Hoff and Morgaine both rolled low. I think they rolled like a 4 and a 9. So they both sprung the trap. I had these little net icons for the tokens. So I had them move up here, and I had Rhonda and Leah just kind of say that they were like sort of around here when the traps were sprung. And as soon as the traps were sprung, then I had them roll dexterity saving throws. So bad luck, you sprung the trap. Now can you avoid it? And they both actually failed their dexterity saving throws as well. Strangely enough, it's like especially strange for the monk. They both failed their dex saves and got trapped, and that was when the combat began. And I would normally have done like an ambush surprise round, but interesting stuff on that note, which I'll get to in just a second. Let me catch up in chat. To be frank, or to be fair, it's a pig-based economy ruled by a murder-hungry dictator. It's also true. Murder-hungry dictators do cause some shenanigans to ensue oftentimes. That's just how it goes. So, oh, by the way, note on the trap. Let me explain a little bit more about how they worked. They both failed. They were hoisted about 30 feet up into the tree and restrained. The restrained condition just means you can't move, and attacks against you have disadvantage. And I think you can't. Can you not attack? Let me open up my D&D, my 5e tools. I'm gonna refresh myself on what the condition does. This is 5etools.com, by the way, guys. Super great website for everything related D&D rules wise. Conditions here. What is restrained to do again? Speed becomes 0. Can't benefit from any bonuses to its speed. Attack rolls against the creature have disadvantage, and the creature's attack rolls have advantage, so you can't actually attack out from the trap, which is hard to do. And you also have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. So they were up there in the net. I didn't want to be super debilitating. Basically, just a sticky situation. So if you're in the trap, you can roll athletics to break out, acrobatics to wiggle out, or if you're creative enough to tell me a tool that you have. If you have a dagger or a sword, you could just use your action to cut your way out. No roll required. So it's nothing like serious. It's just sort of something to slow down a couple party members. And of course, some of these porks are gonna throw some javelins at you with advantage on that first round. So if you're stuck in the trap, bit of a tricky situation. Traps being sprung in this big base economy. It's true. Why does Hoff have 5 health? That's because that's how much health he ended up with at the end of the night. These tokens are still like sort of leftover state from the last battle. So they started it with full health. Actually, Hoff started this battle with a couple points down because he got trampled by pigs, and Rhonda also started a couple points down because she also got trampled by pigs. But she's fine because look at her health, 32 hit points max to Hoff's 17. She literally has almost double his max HP. It's crazy. She's a buff gal, a muscular lady, y'all. They did have some healing, but they decided not to spend any resources. Actually, wait, that's not true. I think Rhonda used lay on hands on Hoff and brought him to full before they got to this point. So scratch what I just said. Hoff actually was at full health at the beginning of this fight. Rhonda was the only one down, and she was only down like 4 hit points, and she's like, I'm fine. I'm not going to spend any healing on myself. So they were pretty fresh for this battle. She is a unit, absolutely. And they didn't have any rest or anything like that. Yeah, warlocks. Yeah, if there was a warlock in the party, they'd be like, we have to rest. We have to rest now. Short rest, because warlocks get their spell slots back after a short rest. If there was a warlock here, they'd absolutely be like, 1 hour, please. So anyway. So, once the traps were sprung, it was time for combat. The orcs were stealthed, which would mean an ambush, which means a surprise round, which means everyone rolls initiative, but those who are surprised cannot act on the first round. That's what a surprise round is. You basically spend your first turn becoming unsurprised, and then your turn is over. But Leah is a ranger, and her player actually brought up to me that she cannot be ambushed in her favorite terrain as a ranger, and they're in a forest, which is one of her favorite terrains. So Leah cannot be surprised. So she did not get into a surprise round. Not only that, she also has another feature that says while she's tracking, she remains alert to danger. And on top of that, she was the player who actually said, what are these bushes? What are these things? She expressed interest in these and kind of caught they were a little out of place looking. So in real life, she was actually wary of the bushes. So taking all those factors into account, I basically said, you know what, Leah, you cannot be surprised. And because of the other feature and you saying so, I'm going to say that none of you are surprised. You have successfully called out that something's wrong right when they spring the traps and when the orcs jump out, so you guys can properly react to danger. No surprise round. We rolled initiative, and the fight was on. It's not a surprise round at the ranger's favorite terrain. Exactly. Yep. Always ready to fight in the forest. Yep. Basically, you can hide from her. For now. You can hide for her for a second, but if you try to spring an ambush, she's going to get that danger sense, that spidey sense tingle, too fast. Too fast for it to be a proper ambush. So, the fight is on. I play this music here. Some Mandalorian shit. Let's see here. Encounter began. And this encounter basically went really well. I'm not going to give you the play-by-play, but this encounter was really, really good. It's 6 orcs who, statistically, mechanically, are just orcs. So, I think they're like CR 1/2 or something. I think it ended up being a hard encounter by encounter building terms. They attacked the people, the trees. Rhonda came over and started messing this guy up. Leah stepped back. She cast Hunter's Mark on the far one and started like pew, 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 shooting these far guys while Hoff and Morgan worked on getting out. Leah's wolf came up and, a pig came up here and Leah's wolf started mauling it. And it was just chaos. But it was very fun. The players, it was fast paced. It was quick. Players had a lot of fun. Let's see. Rhonda and Leah got a couple of kills early on. Leah was like second MVP, second place MVP, because I think she got like 3 kills the whole time, and she was just back there, pew, 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 like being efficient. Clean kills. Hoff cut his way out of his snare trap and scurried up the branches and down to the trunk. Ended up here. Leah was like somewhere up here, I think. Morgane, I was hoping she would do this. I was hoping Morgane would do this, and she did. Morgane used her wild shape to transform into a brown bear in the snare trap. So she just transformed into bear mode. And so I said, okay, since you're being creative and doing that, I will let you roll an athletics check to break out of the net as part of that bonus action. So if you succeed, you'll still have your action. And she did it. She passed it with flying colors. So bear form, busted out of the net, fell down. She took some falling damage, but she's in bear form. Who cares? She's tough. And she went and started mauling some orcs left and right with her bare hands. And it was great. Yes, get it, Leah. Yes, Abner, correct. Exactly. The Lorax. I love it, guys. So, that was awesome. The fight was on. Now, shit got real partway through. Leah was taking some big hits, and it ended up being like this. This orc moved down here. I think these ones were taken out of commission. These ones up here were taken out by Leah like early on. It was nasty, but we ended up in this situation where Hoff was on ground level. This orc was like here by now, I think. And Leah took some nasty, snasty hits, and Leah actually went down below 0 HP. She started dying. And that is when the real MVP stepped up of this encounter, and that is Hoff. Hoff kicked some ass this battle. No, not that. Let's see. Yo, No Bark, No Bag. Hello, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about the first encounter of the recent session before the Board King. Go back and watch the beginning of this VOD if you want, but right now we are talking about Hoff. This dude kicked some major ass. So what he did on his next turn, Leah went down. She's bleeding out. She's dying. She needs help fast. Hoff opens up a can of whoop ass on this orc, kills him, steps over his body. Now he's Way of Mercy monk, which means he has healing hands. So he spends a key point, touches Leah, heals her, saves her life, runs down here, smacks this orc for his next attack, doesn't kill him, spends a second key point to apply Hand of Harm. So he does Hand of Healing and then Hand of Harm and added extra necrotic damage to this guy. Killed him as well. Double kill for 2 key points. Kill, heal, kill. And it was so hype and everyone was cheering for Hoff. That was dope. Hoff is the MVP of this round. That was probably the most hype round of combat in this campaign so far, with the juicy double and the ally save to boot. It was dope. Nobark says, doing pretty well, I guess. Kind of sore, though. Hey, hope you feel better soon, buddy. I'm glad you're doing all right, aside from that, though. Yeah, he went full ham. No pun intended, but he kicked major ass. At this point, some orc reinforcements were coming in. But after that was done, combat was officially over. These orcs in this area were the only ones that were official enemies. I had some reinforcements coming in as flavor, but they weren't actually going to be participants in the fight. But that is when combat ended, the music ended, and these orcs were getting ready to fight. But then out from the forest up here, out from the woods, from deep within the snorting thicket, the party hears this loud echoing. It's not from my streams, not that one, but a very deep rumbling, sort of growling sound, almost like a very, very loud, very deep snort. What am I say? The orcs put their weapons away, looked at each other, nodded, turned around, and jogged back up into the woods in the direction of the noise. And I made a mistake here. I failed to communicate to the party that they ran toward the noise. They thought that they were running away from the noise. I had to clarify. No, they're running toward where the noise was. And the party was like, what? That sounds like a big scary monster, but they're going toward it? Is it something on their side? But on that note, though, they did actually spare one orc for interrogation. So they all took a short rest at this point. Hoff needed to recover his key points. Morgane needed to recover her wild shape form. And Leah needed to heal. So they all took a short rest at this point. And after the short rest was done with, they woke up this orc to question him. And that was, we took a short little break in real life, get a snack and stuff. And then when we came back, we questioned this orc, which predictably didn't really go well. They talk like they don't talk. So, yeah. 5Cat says, I have a request. When the Enforcer battle happens, please can you play cameo boss fight music? I might. Let me hear that. Is it just cameo boss fight song? They all the same fight? It seems like they have different... It seems like the different bosses have different songs. So, if there's one in particular that you would like me to use, I might use it. Drox Battle. Here's Drox Battle. For one example. I might use these. This sounds pretty good. Let me know if I'll listen to them later on my own time, and you send me a suggestion of a specific one, and I might use it. Yeah, probably. Sounds pretty cool. And then a Christian Young is here, says, I finally made it to one live. Hey, I'm so glad you're here, friendo. Thanks for stopping by. We just finished talking about the first encounter where the party performed very well, very admirably, and Hoff got the sick double kill with the heal at the same time to save an ally, and it was great. So, battle's over. They interrogated this pigman to no avail. Rhonda was like using sign language and her own oinking sound to try to ask the pigman what that noise was, you know, where their allies went, and the pigman was just like... So they decided they were going to tie up the pigman and bring him in the direction of the noise, and Hoff was the one who suggested that we kind of keep him as prisoner and use him as a bargaining chip to try to, you know, all diplomacy with the other pigmen or whatever, basically have him prisoner and be like, we'll give him back if you give us back our pigs, you know. So that was the plan. That was the plan. But as we all know, something else awaits them. So they were on, and that is where that pigman came into play on this screen here. They organized their marching order with the pigman being led in the center, with Rhonda kind of having him on a leash. And they headed into the inner sanctum of the Snorting Thicket, which is actually what this image looks like right here. That's what this is. This is the inner sanctum of the Snorting Thicket. Although, obviously, like, pitch black because it was nighttime. So, I'll describe that in just a moment after I catch up a little back in chat. 5Gat says, I think the Tree Guys one would be good. Forgot his name. It has a tribalist chanting. I think it'd be perfect for the final fight for Hogwood. I'll definitely look at it. I'll look through them and see which one you're talking about. If you can find it too, let me know. If you have a specific, if you have the name for it, I'll definitely look into it. No, Heavenly Buddha. The King Boar would not do such a thing. They are friends. Nah. So, can druids talk to animals? Yes, but the way I have it is that the orcs... back it up a second. The orcs are not animals. They are like humanoid animal hybrids. They have their own language. So a speak with animals spell wouldn't necessarily work, and the ranger can communicate basic ideas with animals without that spell, and that didn't work either because they have they're more like humanoids, you know, pig humanoid hybrids. So the talk with animal stuff wouldn't really work with them. But on top of that, there is a speak with animals spell that druids can learn. Morgane does not have that spell. Rangers can communicate simple ideas to animals and understand what animals' needs are without using a speak with animals spell. And she could not use that with the pigmen. for the same reason I listed before. So no, they could not communicate with these pigmen. So anyway, on with the adventure. They headed to the inner sanctum of the Snorting Thicket, and the music that I played, I don't want to play here because it's more heavily copyrighted than video game music that I'm playing now. But deep within the inner sanctum, they saw this ruinsy structure. There's ruins all over the place, as you can sort of see by the picture. But deep within, there's one particular building. There's a large ruins-like structure. The party slowly approached there, and they could see light flickering from inside. They saw the light of a flame flickering, so they knew it was like occupied. And as they got closer, they saw more pigmen, which I didn't call them orcs at this time, by the way. At this point, the party doesn't know what they're called. I've just been calling them pigmen, basically, right? So they saw some more pigmen in the structure ahead, and the pigmen they had their axes on them, but they were not hostile, and they waved them in. And the pigmen actually beckoned them and gestured to the entrance of this ruinsy temple. They wanted them to enter, and the party said, "Oh, they were expecting us. They're inviting us in, eh?" I said that the pigmen gestured to ask if they could get their friend back, and the party agreed to let them have their friend back as they entered. And that is when they came face to face with the Lord of the Forest. And I'll switch over to that map too. The Boar King's Warren. Can rangers or druids comprehend languages? Asks Heavenly Buddha. That's a great question. Let me check on 5etools.com. Spells. Comprehend languages. If you look in here, they are for the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard classes, or the Aberrant Mind, Sorcerer, Arcane, Trickster, Rogue, and Eldritch Knight Fighter, and the City Domain Cleric subraces. So no, they cannot. Most classes, races, backgrounds give an option for extra languages, so one character can speak 2 or 3 languages. Yes, that is true, but I don't think any of the players would have chosen Pig Tongue as their language. But yeah, I think Heavenly Buddha, referred to the spell, which, no, that is not something available to druids and rangers, unfortunately. Fight against Old Mawood. So if I get sounds as good as I remember. Let me look that up real quick. I'm curious. I want to hear that real quick. Cameo. Old Mawood. That sounds pretty cool, I'd say. I'll probably use that. Maybe not for the battle itself, but maybe for when the Enforcer first arrives and starts fucking shit up. You know? Maybe then, and when the battle starts, I'll do something a little bit more, like, structured. Because that sounds very, like, chaotic and fast-paced and, like, uh-oh, danger, like an emergency happening. So I'd love that. That'd be pretty cool. I'll definitely use that at some point for the Enforcer's, an Enforcer moment, at the very least. Not even a Pig Latin joke? Damn it, you're right. I should have just Pig Latin. Damn it. So. Boar King's Warren. Here we motherfucking go. Oh, let me reset the board a little bit here. This is where things ended up. So these pigmen were sort of all scattered around the sides. They weren't up there like that. They were all up and down the edges here, all down the sides. Party started down here, of course. And they couldn't see up top. They couldn't see them. They started at the base of these stairs, and I said how on the sides you guys can see up on the walls here on the left and on the right. These are all the pigs from Hogwood, and some wild pigs as well are watching like spectators, and they're like, "What the hell? What is this? What have we walked into?" And Hoff was the first to step up. He's like, "I will do it." So he stepped up, and then Rhonda followed shortly after. And then I said, before you stands the boar. I didn't say what it was. I described it as an enormous boar standing about 8 or 9 feet long from the tip of his rump to the end of his snout, and like 6 feet from hoof to the back of the hump on his back. Just an enormous creature. And if I pull up the image here, courtesy of local legend, I believe this was John the Heavenly Buddha, if I'm not mistaken, drawing this wonderful piece here. I smeared out the King Hog name for the image that I showed them because I didn't want to name him at that point. Just this is what you're seeing: a enormous hog creature covered in scars, specifically missing a left eye with a huge scar over it, and the tusks on the left side of his head snapped off as if from some grand battle in the past, covered in coarse hair and sporting a crown made of lesser boar tusks. And this was the King Hog. What was that token in the bottom right? Oh, yeah. In order to show art, sometimes you like drag in like a piece. You can drag in the piece and then like do that. So that was just, these are just there because I said, this is what it looks like. You know, this is what it looks like. I'll just go whoop, and I'll go whoopsie. I'll go bam. Yeah, see, this is the version I photoshopped out the name and just said this is what you're seeing. So that's what those are. If you ever see graphics or like a token on the side like that, it's just because I dragged it in and left it there and then copied it on to like show people. That's what that means. Hoff the Brave right now. Yeah, exactly. Did you know farm pigs can get over 100% bigger if sent out into the wild? That's yeah, I believe that. In 2 weeks, some got over 200%. Yeah, fish are like that. Goldfish and like koi and stuff. If you take a goldfish out of a bowl and put it into a very large pond or a tank, it'll immediately like grow like 10 times its size. So similar to that. I didn't know that about pigs. That's very interesting. But I believe it. That's pretty dope. But anyway, so the Boar King was not immediately hostile because the motivation of the Boar King is to test these adventurers. So they all, Hoff got up first and said, "You guys are gonna." he said something along the lines of, "You guys are gonna want to come up here." So they all joined up and stood face to face with the Boar King, who stared them down, and then he like kind of clapped his hoof into the floor, kind of like a bull almost. And then Rhonda tapped her hammer into the floor, kind of like emulating the same gesture. And the Boar King looked at her and kind of like reared up a little bit, responding positively to her sign. And then he charged her, and it was initiative. He was not, openly hostile to them, but was kind of like communicating like, "We're gonna fight now, guys. We're gonna battle. We're gonna duke it out." And then he charged Rhonda, and they all rolled initiative. And this was the beginning of the Boar King fight. And I do have a stat block for the Boar King. However, as I'm about to describe, I don't like how the battle. It went. The battle was awesome. It went pretty well, all things considered. But there were some parts of it that I didn't quite like. So if I do give you guys the Boar King stats, I'm gonna modify them first to run a little smoother for you, for your battle. So I'll describe how it went in a second. Same thing happens to gators in the sewers. Really? That's interesting. Us humans only get dysentery in the wild. Also lost. That's true. Yeah, we don't grow like 10 sizes, unfortunately. So, I see on my notes. So I'm well. Actually, the notes ended after the Boar King counter. I've been going ad lib since then. So, am I nerfing the Boar King? No, not nerfing. Just making his stuff kind of like work a little bit better and be less clunky. So how the fight started was he charged Rhonda. You know what? Hold on. Let me bring this off real quick. And yeah, you know what? I can actually show you the stats. So let me show you these are the beta stats of the Boar King. But don't use these because for me they're a little bit clunky and it seemed a little too scripted, and I try to avoid like scripted fights because they work pretty well in terms of like, oh, when he hits 0 hit points he enters phase 2, you know, and there's no action, it just kind of automatically happens. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I kind of want to lean away from that just because it's kind of, it's, you know, there's no real rules for it. It's kind of cheesy. It's kind of you just saying like, okay, this happens because I say it does. And, you know, me personally, I like to keep things a little bit more by the book than that. If that makes any sense. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense to you guys, but it's one of those DM things where, you know, you have different DM philosophies. And so you're free to use the stats as I'm presenting now if you want. Just know that I'm going to try to refine them and make them a bit better. So, yeah, balancing stuff a little bit, just making it work better. So here's what happened. The fight overall started with the Boar King charging Rhonda, and Rhonda, of course, medium halfway. The Boar King has 100 hit points. No, actually, yeah. See, okay, here I'm already running into trouble because I'm pretty sure I actually fucked up his hit point total. I think he was supposed to have like 160 in his first form, actually. 16 strength, 12 dex, 20 constitution, 6 intelligence, which is higher than other animals. Intelligence of 6 is actually very high for an animal, for a beast. 12 wisdom, 14 charisma. It has proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws. You want things to have an actual cause and effect instead of just happening. Kind of, yeah, Bitbot. Because if you as the DM just say, this happens because it does, and you apply like video game rules to where it's just like when it hits 0 hit points, he enters the next form, you know, or, you know, random shit happens because I say so. It kind of gets too heavily scripted and turns it into this thing where it's just like, oh, we're just playing the DM's game as opposed to playing a game that has kind of rules that are written out, if that makes any sense. But so anyway, let's go into the Boar King's stats a little bit. Can I zoom in on this? Yeah, I can. You guys can read along. Cool. So, I made up these features, but some of them are sort of based on real features that monsters in the monster manual have. So he's got the Goring Charge feature, which is if the Boar King moves at least 20 feet in a straight line toward its target immediately before using its tackle attack, it adds 3d6 piercing damage to the hit. The target must then make a DC 14 strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet and knocked prone. The tackle attack is a +6 to hit, 2d6 + 3 bludgeoning damage. So you add 3d6 piercing on top of that if it hits. Video game logic usually works sometimes, but not always, Abner. It's a whole big can of worms that I'd like to get into at some point in a real video. But I think a lot of new DMs, because video games are our closest reference point to D&D and how combat should work, a lot of DMs will use video game logic. And it doesn't always work out very well. And there's a lot of reasons for that I'm not going to get into right now. But basically, just because it works in a video game, just because you saw it in Dark Souls or Zelda, doesn't mean it translates well to D&D. Just be careful with that. Is what I'll say for now. But Sasquatches are the ones that did grow in the wild. Yeah, it's true. That's fair. Those are humanoids. Those are humanoids that got lost and grew 10 sizes. So anyway, he also had a special reaction. As a reaction, when taking bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage, that's just my abbreviation, the Boar King can take half damage from the attack. So very similar to the rogue uncanny dodge ability. If the Boar King takes a hit, he can use a reaction to half the damage. So kind of like resistance, but it's more like a limited resistance because the Boar King can only do it once per round. Once per round, he'll take half damage, but in general, he'll keep taking more. So that's all he started with. The tackle, the Goring Charge, and the guts, which is just basically him being like, and sucking up a hit. So I had this scripted to where when the Boar King hit 0 hit points, he used Pump Up. which is his second form, so to speak, which that's when he stood up on his hind legs. And shit got I drew this one. Shit got real. I did this one. I doodled it on my phone using a stylus. So once he's in the pump up form, he no longer has the guts reaction because he gains, I don't think it's written down, but he just gains resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Oh yeah, it does. He gains resistance. So he doesn't have guts anymore. Now he just does resist all damage, and his hit points go back up to full. So that's just like second form. Now he's beefed up. He's hulked out mode. Now he's got the double haymaker ability, which I think is it's identical to the tackle. He can just do it twice per turn instead of just once. And he's got the hog grapple. The Boar King can grapple a target as per the usual grappling rules, which is an athletics check versus a contested either athletics or acrobatics from the target. If the Boar King succeeds, the creature is grappled. On a subsequent turn, if the boar is grappling a creature at the start of its turn, it can use a bonus action to deal 3 points of damage to it, which is like just like an offhand attack, similar to the grappling fighting style that fighters and stuff can take. Then the boar can use the Boar King can use its action to use one of the following attacks: either pile driver. It makes another grapple check. If successful, the target is driven into the ground and takes 4d8 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. Or throw. Make another grapple check. If successful, the target is tossed up to 40 feet in any direction, taking 1d6 damage per 10 feet traveled, plus additional 1d6 per 10 feet dropped if they drop down off the edge. So a potential total of 6d6 damage. So yeah, pretty good shit. So how the fight actually went. Let me just describe basically briefly how the fight went. At the very beginning, the Boar King tried to use his goring charge on Rhonda but missed. And then the party all got around it and started beating the fuck out of it. And this is the downside to solo enemies in D&D, is the action economy is brutal. They all started ganging up on him, and he could not get his goring tackle at all anymore. Leah Hunters marked it and started firing away. Hoff was beating the fuck out of it. Morgaine, I think she went bear form pretty much right away, so she went giant bear form, which actually I have a token for the giant bear form. Or not giant bear, but brown bear. Here we go. Bruh. So, Morgaine in bear form. I think she was actually over here like this. It was sort of like that. It was messy. It was nasty. It was snasty. And Rhonda has the Sentinel feature, which means you cannot disengage away from her. You have to take an opportunity attack if you move away. And if the opportunity attack hits, you stop moving. So, no, not 66. 6d6. Yeah, sorry, I should have clarified. Not 66. 6-sided dice. So 36 points total maximum of damage. But on that note, hold that thought. The Boar King tried to back up and then do another goring tackle because he actually has 40 feet of movement. So if he moves 20 feet back, if he moves 20 feet back and then 20 feet back forward again, he'll take some opportunity attacks, but he'll do more damage. So he had the opportunity to try and do that. He did try to do that, and Rhonda hit him, and he couldn't move. And then they keep beating the fuck out of him. And so he never actually used his goring tackle at all, and no one took any damage in the first phase of the fight. But then he used his pump up, and that's when shit got real. Everyone in the Discord, Hog King's going to destroy what actually happened. Yeah, he kicked his shins in, exactly. But, it could instant kill Hoff, is right, medical meme. One nasty hit could have actually literally killed Hoff. So on that note, the battle got taken up here. They were up here at this point. Morgaine actually, I just remembered, Morgaine actually cast Enlarge on herself to double her size. And then transformed into a bear, which you cannot cast spells in animal form, but you can maintain concentration on spells. So the enlarge spell, still applying, still doubling her size, meant that she turned into a brown bear, double the size of your typical bear, which bears can stand fucking like what, 8, 9 feet tall? Almost standing on their legs, like they can be massive. So this is like a goddamn like 16-foot tall brown bear just started beating the fuck out of the Board King. Rhonda was here, Hoff was over here, Leah was out here pew-pew-pew-pewing. It was a crazy fucking beatdown, and the Board King was standing up on his hind legs at this point. He buffed up, and Heavenly Buddha, I played the Ragnarok song. What was it? Up until now, I was playing damn it, what was it called? Gratua Kun. The Mandalorian shit. So I was playing this at first. Bum, 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 bum. During the first phase, I don't want to play too much of that because it's copyrighted. But after that, I played once the Boar King stood up, I played this shit. I think this is Buddha's Heavenly Buddha's suggestion. I'm not sure. So I played this shit when he got up on his hind legs, and this was playing for a good while they were just like slugging it out. Demonetized, exactly. Yeah, if I only play for a few seconds, it should be fine. Also, the stream's not monetized because this channel's not monetized yet, so don't worry about it. Yeah. So I played that because I agreed that it was a good track to play. The Boar King took Rhonda because he was getting sick of being stuck in one place from Rhonda, and he fucking grappled her. Now this I made an on-the-fly adjustment to change hog grapple so that you don't have to grapple first and then on a subsequent turn use an action to throw, because that takes too long, and in the amount of time it takes to grapple and then throw, you're taking like 8 attacks, and if you fail either of those checks, you just wasted a turn or 2. So I just did it so it's athletics versus either athletics or acrobatics, grapple check, and if it succeeds, he gets the throw. So that was one change I made. It was kind of on the fly, which I don't like changing monsters on the fly, because it feels kind of cheap to just be like, oh, I'm changing how this works. But I'm doing it to create a better experience. And the ultimate goal of a DM is to make a fun and challenging experience for the party. So if it's to make things better, more exciting, then you can do that. Just try to do it sparingly, because again, then you're crossing that line of like the game is just arbitrary because it's whatever the DM decides is going to be in the moment. And then what's the point of rules and rolling dice if you're just going to make stuff up on the fly? You feel me? So I made that change on the fly. It's just 1 grapple. If he succeeds, he yeets you. Just give your boss multi-action. Yes, of course you can do that. But since this is 3rd level, I want to not be giving bosses super crazy stuff just yet. That is an option you can do. And I'm going to go into it a little bit, guys. When you do solo boss monsters, there are things you can do to counteract the action economy and make things a little bit easier. One is multi-action or legendary actions or mythical actions or layer actions and da-da-da-da-da-da, all these kinds of actions. Or obviously give him allies. But the orcs here were spectating. They knew that this was going to be a sanctioned fight, so they didn't interfere. And the party actually thought that they were going to. They thought Morgaine's first turn was actually, she was almost going to go out there and start fucking killing the orcs. And I had to be like, no, they're not hostile. They're watching. And so she's like, oh, okay. Stream lagged. Oh no. Hold on. Okay. That's not on my side, thankfully. Unless someone else has stream difficulties, let me know. That's what the enforcer for. Yeah. So, in an earlier combat like this, 3rd level, I don't want to start giving enemies legendary actions and stuff, because that's kind of nutty. I'm gonna keep it very sort of like, I don't think any monster in the actual rulebook has legendary actions that, CR 5 or 6 or whatever this Hog King is technically classified as. I don't even really know. This is a 3rd level party though. So another thing I changed on the fly is that once Rhonda went down here, she lost I don't know, like 20 hit points or something. She healed herself on her way back up the stairs. She got back up to the Boar King. And once he just yeeted her. He yeeted her out of the fucking... He just, like, table flipped her out of the ring. And she landed and took some big damage. She healed herself up. Made her way back in the fight. And that's when shit started getting extra spicy for the team. Abner says there are monsters that do that. At CR 5 or 6 legendary actions? I don't think so. I could be wrong, though. In my campaign, says Heavily Buddha, a lot of the main enemies are robots and creatures that have regen, which helps with not having to change stuff on the fly. Yeah, the health wasn't a problem. He was loaded with hit points, so that's not the issue. The issue is just that his turn would come, he'd miss his attack or both attacks, and then be done, and then have to take 8 more hits, you know, before it came back to him. So it felt very one-sided. The health wasn't the issue. It was more just the pacing of the fight and the fact that the party didn't really seem... The party didn't feel in danger until toward the end because the Boar King had very few attacks. I mean, he had multi-attack. He had two attacks in this form. But when you've got a party of 4, you know, it takes a while for it to come back. So, anyway, the Boar King grappled Rhonda again and rolled a nat 20 on his athletics check to pile drive her. He used the pile driver, so he picked her up and just fucking choke slammed her onto the pavement. I played this shit. He fucking smashed her. And now, by the rules, you can't critical hit on an athletics check. It's not an attack roll. But I bent the rules a little bit more for the moment and said, fuck it. This time, I'm going to roll with crit damage. And she took fucking like 42 points of damage in one blow. Rhonda went down instantly and was taken out of the fight. And that's the moment where the party was like, ah, fuck. The Boar King is pissed. After she went down, Leah had to start sprinting over to try and give her the cure wounds. The Boar King turned to face Hoff, and he choke slammed Hoff. He reached for the choke slam, but Hoff barely slipped out of the grapple. If he had gotten grappled, he was going down. There's no chance he was gonna keep. It wouldn't have killed him, probably, unless he didn't crit. But he would have gone below 0, guaranteed. So Hoff, and I described how the Boar King had his eyes on Hoff, and Hoff was like, he just put Rhonda down in one blow. I'm not surviving. So the party was scared, and then Morgaine was up, and or rather, at the end of one of her turns, she said, "Can I attempt to grapple the Boar King?" And I was like, oh, fuck. It's going to be a giant bear versus giant boar wrestling match. But I said, the answer is yes, you could have grappled him. It kind of would have been a waste of a turn because according to the rules, grapple just means now you're grappled and that's your turn when you could have just dealt damage. So grappling is kind of useless in D&D by itself unless, you know, other stuff, you know, unless there's a purpose that it serves, like reducing their speed to 0 or whatever. So, but to answer her question, she said, could I grapple the Boar King and, like, try to wrestle him like he threw Rhonda? And I said, hold that thought. Put a pin in that. Because when she asked that question, the Boar King had, like, 13 hit points left. Leah was going to spend her turn healing. Wolf wasn't going to do much damage. Hoff wasn't going to do much damage. He actually had, the Boar King had, like, 20 something, like 24. It got back to Morgaine's turn. Boar King had, like, 12 or 13 hit points left. Morgaine did one attack, hit. Did another attack, hit. And then I asked the big question. How do you want to do this? And I said, now, Morgaine, now what would you like to do to the Boar King? And she said that she was going to grapple him and, like, slam him into the ground. And then I said, hold that thought, though. Pause. Question. Do you want to attack lethally? And she said, yeah. Wait. Hold on. I don't know. Oh, Yachty Random asks, straight up, was she halfway on the ground head first? Yeah, that's basically how she ended up, basically. just like a stick, and then like flopped over with her head in the dirt or head in the cement. Anyway, though, I asked Morgan, "Did you want to be lethal or not?" And she said, "I don't know." And she kind of asked out of character, like, "Guys, should I?" And I said to her that as they're grappling, the Boar King looked into her eyes, and a boar can't really smile, can't really express happiness as an emotion, but the Boar King had almost a smile in his eye. There was a look of sort of satisfaction in his eye, and so Morgan got the sense that he was not trying to kill them. He almost did, but his intent was not, a hostile one. So she said non-lethal, and so she picked him up and she slammed him into the ground, kind of similarly to how he slammed Rhonda. And oh no, she threw him. She yeeted him onto the stairs, and he rolled down the stairs. That's why he was up here. And so then she exited bear form, and that was the end of the encounter, and that was it. And that was the Boar King battle. It was a bit of a slog. The pacing could have been better, just because of the way that I had paced it. In hindsight, I probably should have given the Boar King some kind of a mid-round action, or something like that, or some kind of feature that lets him like maybe move around without taking opportunity attacks or something. But I mean, the whole point of the Boar King is that he's huge and tanky, so it just ended up being a thing where he stood there and took attacks while he dished out damage, and it was kind of a very simple battle. So could have been a little more exciting at the first half, I feel like. But the second half, where he got the crit on Ronda, that turned things around, and then it was kind of a scramble to kill him as quickly as possible. So it ended up being pretty cool in the end. And he did throw Ronda out of the ring once, and then fucking choke slam her a second time. Oh wait, no, hold on, no, guys, I was mistaken. Actually, he did. I remember because I shared a choke slam gif, like a WWE choke slamming gif, in our private Discord. No, he actually did manage to choke slam Hoff and leave him with 1 hit point. He did that at one point, and then he was gonna go for another one, and Hoff barely dodged the second one. So it was exciting. Second half was exciting. Yeah, a glint in his one eye. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah. A stun roar. That's a good idea. I should have done that. That's a good call. Maybe a once per encounter stun roar, or just a substitute instead of an attack. And if you succeed in the saving throw, you're immune to its effect. Kind of how fear works for like dragons and stuff. The fearsome presence, or yeah, whatever it's called. That'd be a good idea. I should have done that. Maybe I'll do that on the updated stat block. Yes, yeah, the porks. Yeah, exactly. The pork kind of waddled up to him and made sure he was okay. Rhonda used a point of lay on hands to bring him back up, and Morgaine treated his wounds, and so did Leah. Hoff stood up here cautiously, and the Boar King was. Oh, that's right. They wanted to take the crown and put it on Morgaine, because Morgaine is the new Boar King, the new King of the Hogs. They actually wanted to do that. But one of the orcs came up and grabbed the crown and insisted that they not take it, and he put it back on the King Boar. So Morgaine's not the King of the Hogs, but the King of the Hogs, as we all know, might have a heroic sacrifice soon. Maybe they fight him again, but he's stronger next time. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna be fighting him again, because I have plans for the Hog King. Maybe we could save the stun roar for one of the wardens. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. So the Hog King kind of bowed a little bit to them, kind of gestured that like he was satisfied with the battle, and then he turned around and started walking up the path toward one big gnarled tree that was kind of hollowed out underneath the roots, and the party followed him. And that is where we entered the final scene of the session. Built like Zeus. Yes, absolutely. So the party was taken to this tree. Oh, jeez. Didn't mean to go there. I'll just kind of... Actually, we'll go back here. Here we go. Party was taken to this hollowed tree, and it looked like it was lived in. The War King waited outside and let them enter, and as they walked in, there were stairs going up and around the tree into a hollowed out section that had a bed, a chest, some householdy type things like a desk and some cabinets and such. It was a little place where Tanner Harsk lived, and in the center of this room was a stone sort of obelisk with a blue glowing outline of a hand. And Rhonda walked up and placed her hand on the print. It responded by glowing bright. And then she stepped back, and light burst out of it into these millions of little blue glowing particles. The particles swirled around the room and then coagulated to form a magical recorded holographic message from Tanner Harsk directly. And Tanner Harsk spoke to the party in this recorded message. And I will read to you guys Tanner Harsk's message, if you so desire. And that will be the final thing we sort of talk about today during this campaign diary. Bring it on home. Let me bring up the music, actually. It's some Zelda music I can bring up. What the heck? Can I get it, please? Catch up in chat here. Wasn't the Enforcer only supposed to come if they found the glyphs? I'm pretty sure the Board King can murk the Instigator. Yes, but they are I'm changing things up a little bit. Cecil is going to tell them. Is gonna give them a hint that would lead them to finding the glyphs. So it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to take care of at least some of the glyphs. So the Enforcer probably will show up. Actually, they both might show up. The Instigator and the Enforcer might both show up, but then the Enforcer is the one who stays and fights, probably. They did not find the sigils of the sign. Like I said, I think they're going to before Hogfest. I'm going to basically kind of prod them to find those, and then that will ensure that the Enforcer is the one that they fight. So, yeah, that's how that's going to happen. If I can find this song, here it is. So, hold on, let me actually pull it up because I don't have it pulled up yet. Pull up my session notes, and I will tell you. I will describe to you Tanner's final message to the party. It's a bit long, so this will be the final sort of leg of our diary entry tonight. I hope you guys enjoy hearing this. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. We need to decide what the Instigator looks like. Yes, we do. We absolutely do. We're gonna have another world building stream before the next session, so we'll probably figure it out then. Yeah, medical mean that might be what it is. It might be that the Instigator doesn't place the glyphs. The Observer does. So he might be the one who shows up, the Observer. But we have to decide how it goes. But yeah, basically it's gonna be the Observer checking on the glyphs while the Enforcer kind of covers him, and then Nether and Dad will probably show up and be like, "Oh, you did it! Oh, that makes sense. Now get him, Enforcer! Ha!" and fight, you know. But we'll figure it out. A lot of it's up in the air because a lot of shit was in the air for the world building streams. So yeah, we'll figure it out. So anyway, this was Tanner Harsk's message. I'll read this pretty much verbatim the way I had it set. The party sees a ghostly image form. Light blue energy, likely magic, coalescing to resemble a humanoid figure. Soon the magical image sharpens and refines enough for the person to be recognizable. It appears to be a broad-shouldered man, fully grown, wearing durable traveler's clothes. You recognize his face, though have never seen it awake and alive. The figure says, "You ready? All right." Speaking to someone off-screen, someone from outside the magical recording. Likely the person performing the recording. Let's see. art contest for the instigator. I'm down with that. The figure then speaks. If you are witnessing this message, it probably means that I have passed into the next life. More than likely, my death will be due to the brand of Netherin Daz that I now bear. He shows the mark that we all know. This one. Which, by the way, for those who don't know, look, N, D. So, he says, yeah, a little bit like Forrest Ghost. Oh yeah, Leah's final message. Exactly, that's basically what it's like. He says, "My name is Tanner Harsk, and I leave this message as my final farewell to this world, and as a desperate plea. This message is being recorded using magic, courtesy of a trusted companion. It is their last favor to me before we part ways. I realize that whoever is watching this illusion may not know exactly who I am, so please allow me to explain. I am an adventurer of the Elder Vale, one of 4 such adventurers who, at one point, were considered by many as heroes. At that point, the image changes. Harsk's holographic form disperses, turning once again into millions of magical particles that flood the room. The particles shift and mold and meld and settle toward the floor, forming an enormous scene that looks like a 3-dimensional overview map of a large rectangular valley, the Elder Vale. It hovers in place for a moment before rapidly zooming in on one part of the vale toward the corner. And the holographic image shows 4 figures that are seen traveling by horseback on the road. Tanner Harsk is one of them. It is the 4 heroes of the Vale, but the others are blurred out. Can't quite see them in this message. Tanner narrates the scene saying, "My friends and I traveled this vale together in the wake of Netherin's evil reign, helping those in need and increasing our strength, with the goal of eventually defeating the accursed master of this realm." The scene changes once again to show the 4 heroes battling undead minions of Netherin Daz. One swings a mighty sword, one is showing incredible agility and tenacity. One is manipulating the field with magic, and Tanner himself is in the midst of a crowd of foes. Tanner narrates further, "We each contributed to this crusade in our own ways. I myself was born with a peculiar blessing. The blood of giants runs through my veins. In times of great need, I am able to summon a great power handed down to me by my ancestors." In the battle scene being shown by the hologram, Tanner Harsk appears overrun by enemy minions. He appears to take a deep breath and then lets out a roar that the party cannot hear in this part of the recording, but you can tell from the enemies closing their ears that Tanner's roar is loud and mighty. Tanner then appears to grow at least 2 feet taller and more muscular. With a hammer in one hand, Tanner begins tossing monsters around the battlefield with his mighty swings. So Tanner has like giant blood in him. Yeah, quarter giant, exactly. Yeah. It's funny, in an old campaign I have a quarter orc player character who's half human and half orc, so quarter orc. But yeah, diluted giant blood to the point where Tanner is not giant, but he can like activate giant mode and kind of grow some and start swinging. It's pretty cool. Tanner goes on to say, "My allies are strong as well. They each possess their own abilities, either through some inheritance like myself or through intense training and learning." Hulk? Yeah, basically. Essentially Hulk. The other figures in the holographic scene are still too blurry, so the party cannot tell what they're doing exactly, but they can see that each member of the 4 adventurers is utilizing some potent abilities to defeat the enemy. So we, guys, are going to talk in a world-building stream about what exactly these heroes do. I have some ideas. I think I know a couple of them, kind of what they do, but we'll talk about them. Hagrid, yeah, exactly. Oh, made 2 hammers I might like, says Headley Buddha. Sweet. I'll look at him in a minute. Tanner Harsk continues to narrate, saying, "We slayed many foes, gathered powerful artifacts, and learned great secrets of this domain. Despite our successes, however, we were met with even more failures. Time and time again, Netherin broke our bodies and crushed our spirits. We managed to escape with our lives more times than we could count, always left wondering why Netherin refused to finish us off. The scene shifts to match everything Harsk says, showing the band of heroes overrun by powerful enemies over and over in a montage of losses. Perhaps it's always just been a sick game to him, or perhaps we are so far beneath him that he feels no desire to get rid of us. No matter the cause, he has allowed us, and only us, to slip away every time we were bested. Meanwhile, he would continue taking countless innocent lives, or collecting corpses of those who were killed by others. Even those who die of natural causes aren't safe. Their bodies always being collected by Daz or that vile minion of his, the Seeker. Or no, yeah, the Seeker. It was the I think Kenku. Ooh. The cinematic battle scenes vanish, and once again, the blue particles that make up the hologram come together to form Tanner Harsk again, who stands at life size before the party. He says, "My allies, sadly, have given up hope. I have sworn to keep their identities and fates a secret in exchange for this last favor. Their spirits could only endure so much during our war with Daz. I have agreed to let them be at peace. To whomever uncovers this message, however, I make a humble request. I beg of you, please do what you can to help the Elder Vale and defeat Nether and Daz. I do not know of his plans or his purpose, but for 30 long years he has lorded over this land as a cruel and evil dictator." The Seeker be like, "Yeah, a fine addition to my collection." Exactly. Yes. A fine addition to Netherin's collection, more like. Tanner goes on, "I know that I am asking an impossibly difficult task. It is foolish of me to even hope that you would dedicate yourself to the defeat of Nether and Daz, but I'm out of options. Even with our powers combined, my companions and I stood no chance against him. Alone, I stand even less of a chance. But maybe, possibly, if by the will of the gods, some new hero or group of heroes hears this message, they might one day become strong enough to free the Elder Vale from its shackles. My final act as a hero of the Vale will be to leave its boundaries in search of the next generation, a new warrior or team of warriors to inherit this struggle. I have heard of a certain guild that exists in the outside world, an organization that gathers heroic individuals in order to help those in need. I have packed my bag with many powerful healing potions that I've collected, and will use every ounce of my strength in order to make the journey to Viella. I pray that I am successful. I have asked my friend, the Boar King, to test approaching candidates for this quest. If you made it here to my hideaway, it means that either you have killed him, or he has approved your entry. I met the Boar King some time ago during my training. He is a beast who has lived a long time and survived many hardships. Somehow, he has attained wisdom beyond any dumb animal, and the nearby orcs have taken to worshipping and obeying him. That was the reveal to the party of the name Orc, and which they loved, by the way. They loved it. Even mundane pigs are bent to his influence when he demands it. When I first met the Boar King, we clashed and had a mighty duel. When I proved my strength by wounding him, I gained his trust and respect, and I have left him to watch this safe house ever since. If you accept my humble, foolish request, you may open my chest behind this obelisk. It is the last of my possessions. Hopefully they will aid you on your journey." Harsk lets out a deep sigh. He steps forward, drops to both knees, and he plants his hand on the floor in order to be on all fours. He then bows his head as he continues. He concludes his message by saying, "I am sorry. I'm ever so sorry that I've dragged whoever is listening into this war, but the people of the Vale deserve hope. They deserve freedom from Netherin's rule. Please, I beg of you, help the Elder Vale. Become stronger, gather power, make allies. Learn the secrets of the Vale, and defeat Nether and Daz. This is my final request." Tanner bows fully forward, pressing his forehead into the floor as he humbly bows to the four adventurers and makes his final, desperate plea. Then the message ends. The blue particles that make up Tanner's body disperse, cascading around the room, and they drift past the party and brush against them. And the party is left there, kind of in awe in silence, having just been face to face with a former hero of the Vale who failed, whose final request in life was for them to carry on the fight and continue the war against Netherindaz to free the Elder Vale from his evil clutches. And that was the end of the scene. And there was a moment of silence between the party members. They were all a bit awestruck in real life and also in character. And Rhonda broke the silence by saying, "We're going to do it, guys. We're going to beat him." And they all kind of said, "Yep, that's right." And they have resolved to defeat Netherindaz officially. Their quest has officially been accepted. So that's that. If by the will of the karma system in that 20s, yeah, exactly. Imagine if they did kill the Boar King, the amount of regret they would feel. Oh my gosh, exactly, Bitbot. If Morgaine just said, nah, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. You see what he did to Rhonda? I'm gonna tear his throat out. They would have felt so bad. Oh man. Yeah. Ezio. Heavenly Wood. Ah man, I need to play Assassin's Creed again. It's been so long. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Yachty as well says it. Change the world. My final message. Imagine if they said no. If they said no, they'd still be stuck in the Vale, and Netherindaz would be coming after them either way. So even if they said no to the message, like, the fight's coming to you, man. But no, these players are cool. A cool player will always pick up the adventure and say, yeah, I'm going to go along with the adventure because that's what I signed up for. Only asshole players are like, no, I'm not going to do it. Come on, guys. Go along with the adventure. Maybe it takes a little bit of convincing from NPCs and from other party members. You know, maybe you can role play that your character doesn't immediately pick up the call to action. But out of character, always be on board with the adventure. Unless it's something that the DM says, you know, unless it's something stupid and the DM is making assumptions of you. But, you know, D&D's about working together, players and DMs, you know, so. And these players know that. They're like, yeah, this is the quest. What else would they do in this big economy? Exactly. So, they accept the quest and they open up the chest. In the back of the chest, or in the chest in the back of the room, they have a painting of Tanner Harsk, who's got his arms around two other characters, but they're torn out. It's his old party. They might collect all of the pieces of the painting later on. They got some potions of healing, greater healing actually. One potion of mind sharing, which was suggested by you guys in the world building streams. A two-sided potion that when a creature drinks one half and another creature drinks the other half, they can communicate telepathically for an hour. So they got that, and they actually decided that they almost wanted to use that with the Boar King immediately. They wanted to say, can we share this with the Boar King and mentally communicate with him? And I was like, what? That'd be crazy. But I kind of said to them, like, you do. There's a tag. There's an instructions tag on it, and the detect thoughts spell does not work against a creature who does not know a language. And the Boar King doesn't know a language technically. Doesn't speak a language because he's an animal. So if they really wanted to, I probably would have let them do it. But since they were on the fence, I kind of just gave them the confirmation and said, yeah, you're pretty sure it won't work on the Boar King. If they had insisted, I would have let them do it. But they were kind of like, oh, I don't know, maybe we should. So I was just kind of like, you're going to want to save it, trust me. You know. But yeah, so it was cool. They got that. They got the Hammer of Harsk, which is also known as Tanner's Tenderizer, which is like a big meat hammer with spikes on it, which is a +1 warhammer for Rhonda to take. So now Rhonda's got a cool spiky hammer. Nothing too crazy, just a little extra oomph. I want to get them all armed up with +1 weapons fairly soon. And then later on in the campaign, I want them each to have a really cool weapon that's +2 plus an effect. That'll be their final end game weapons. They'll have +2s, and the weapons will have like cool, special, unique abilities. You know, hammer time. You know it, Logan. They also got Tanner's. The last thing they found was Tanner's amulet, the Proof of Ambition. I called it Proof of Valor in the world building stream, but I chose this one, Proof of Ambition, because Tanner's sort of heroic virtue that he represents is ambition. He is the one who never gave up hope. He wanted to defeat Nether and Daz once and for all. You know, that was his virtue he brought to the field, and that is going to be the token that they bring back to Cecil. I mean, it'll all be proof, but that one in specific is going to be one that Cecil recognizes and says, that's Tanner's amulet. This is his proof of ambition. And when they wear the amulet, they get a +1 to charisma saving throws because it strengthens your soul, your spirit, helps you to overcome effects that try to wrestle with your very soul. Yadi says, like, specifically made for them, like a proficiency. More like +2 magic weapons that suit them very well and complement their abilities. So a +2 bow for Leah, +2 hammer for Rhonda that does like radiant damage. Maybe a +2 spell focus for Morgaine, and then like a +2 staff for Hoff or something, or braces of defense too, you know. Anyway, arrows that return to the owner could be. I don't track ammunition though, so that probably wouldn't come too handy. Fivecat says, imagine if they use the potion on the porks, so they're just talking grunts. Yeah. Oh! I'm sorry, I misread. On Oaks McConnor, or Oaks Connor. Yeah, your character that you made. Yeah, instead of just we can actually communicate with the old fisherman. Yes, that'd be amazing. Yes. Oh, you meant prophecy. Oh, yes. Maybe not exactly prophecy. Maybe Rhonda's can be prophecy because she's the paladin, you know, or like so like divine favor, you know. But yeah, something like that. Something kind of very sort of meant for them. Maybe. No, I got you. Yeah, autocorrect is a bitch sometimes. I feel you though. Yeah. So that's the session. The pig is all lined up for them. They all went back out to the arena, and all the pigs of Hogwood got in a big old group, and they all start marching back to Hogwood by themselves with the party to escort them back. The pigs are being returned to Hogwood, and Hogfest must go on. So, next session will be Cecil learning what happened to Tanner and what he did, being convinced to help the party. He's going to give them a hint on how to get the sigils taken care of. They're going to do that. It's not going to take too long. And then Hogfest will happen. And then Hogfest will be interrupted by our villains will take place, and I'm thinking that either Cecil or the Boar King will heroically sacrifice themselves in this battle. Maybe it'll be up to the players to just kind of decide who they're gonna help or something like that. I want to come up with a big emotional moment for that. I have ideas, but I'll save them for the world building stream. Sure, yeah. Write them down. Make sure you remember them because we're gonna have a world building stream probably next week. I'm gonna say I'm not for sure. Stay tuned for updates, but most likely next week. Maybe next Monday. Maybe next Monday. So 6 days from now. We'll see. Hear me out. Why not both? Maybe. Yeah, I'm on board with the Boar King a little bit myself, honestly, guys. That does sound better to me. It kind of depends because Cecil, the mentor to Tanner Harsk, is going to have kind of a change of heart a little bit, knowing what Tanner did and knowing about this party, and he's going to kind of like resolve and say, you know what, Tanner was right. I'm gonna help you guys in your fight against Daz. Count me in. Cecil's an old man who finally sees reason, is like, all right, you know what, we're gonna do this, guys. Let's take the fight to Daz. But then he might be cut down early, but we'll see. You know? Yeah, exactly, Heavenly Buddha. Yeah. Do we want the big tank on our side or the Master Swordsman? But we'll maybe we'll decide in the next World of Melee stream who's gonna do it. But that's it for the day, guys. This stream went way longer than I wanted it to. I called it. But that's just because there's a whole lot to talk about, and I went into detail with the battles, and I hope you enjoyed it, y'all. I really do hope that you were entertained by this stream. I hope that maybe you learned a thing or two. Maybe you got some cool ideas for things to use for your own sessions. I always have an open policy when it comes to my stuff. Anything that I run, you guys are welcome to run as well, especially this campaign since y'all helped me come up with it. It's your campaign as much as it is mine. So, yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed. We're going to have a world building stream next week. I said probably Monday, most likely, but we're not decided yet. But stay tuned for updates. I will let you all know about that. There's some art on the Discord to look at. I'm going to look at that real quick. I'm going to look at that, guys. I know it was suggested that Heavenly Buddha has a couple of weapon drawings, I think, for us. Sorry, volume's getting funky. Yeah, give them a choice, decide who to save. Yeah, we might do that, BitBot. I mentioned that a little bit. Exactly. We'll see. Yeah, the world building streams are very fun, Logie. I agree. I like those a lot. But I'm glad some of you guys enjoyed. Creative Hate says it was awesome. Well, thanks. I'm glad that you think it was awesome. Glad you were here. Glad all y'all were here. Let's open up the Discord server of Legends real quick because we have a little bit of art to look at from our boy, Heavenly Buddha. Let me pull this up on the main screen here. Oh shit, you got a lot of little things here, eh? Look at these. You got some goodies, some trinkets. Hold on. Yadi says, I learned some stuff. I've never played D&D before, but have seen some things about it before. Well, hey, listen. Glad you learned something. D&D's awesome. And sometime, hopefully soon, I want to finally start my how to play D&D videos where I actually, like, legitimately give you guys information on how to run your own games. For those of you who have not run games yet. That's something I want to do soon. That'll be very fun. So hopefully, if you haven't played yet, you'll learn like actually how to play, and you know, maybe start playing your own game. That'd be amazing. Let's swoop on over here. Swoop. Slow fade swoop. A little bit of art here real quick before we go. 5 cats, I'll see you later, buddy. We do have a little bit more to look at here if you're still with us, but if you're heading out, then peace out. Credit Hit says, I've only been here a few times, but it's been as great of a time as on the main channel, and I'm always glad to just chill, lurk, play video games while listening to the diary. Heck yeah. Hey, I've said it before, I've said it a million times. My streams, if they're the kind of streams that you want to hear in the background, like, that's perfectly fine with me. That's fun. But, so, we got some weapons here, some scythes, or like, kama. Is that what it's called? A kama? Yeah, kama. It's like Japanese. I mean, similar to that. They could just be like sickles, but they kind of look like that too. Either way. Yeah, you guys got the swoop. Some cool shit here. I love the. I like this sword a lot, and this one. Very, very interesting and very cool. I used to do weapon doodles like this all the time. I in a really old notebook of mine, I had just like one page of human weapons, one page of elven weapons, and one page of dwarf weapons, where I just went through. This is way back in 4th edition. I would just go. I went through the weapons list and just drew every martial weapon. You know, of the 3 like main cultures: human, dwarvish, and elvish. Dwarven and elven. Which was very fun, and this kind of reminds me of that. My page kind of looked like this. I like the what is this called? Flamberge? Is that what the kind of the curvy swords? I don't know. I might be mispronouncing that, but yeah, the swords that have the kind of wiggliness a little bit. This looks like a Ganondorf sword. I love swords like this with the flared tip. That's like one of my favorite sword aesthetics. I love that shit so much. It's so goddamn cool. So A+ on that one. Where's my music? How about we call it a swoof? Kind of like a poof. That's a good call. Swoof, maybe the fade swoop. Yes. Yes, the giant sword in the middle. I know. It's awesome. Some like some rods over here. Or just torches. Can't exactly tell. Some like daggers, some handheld stuff, like Morning Star. Yeah. This is cool shit. I love shit like this, man. This is like I bought a like a hardcover black sketchbook, and my intention was to just fill it with doodles like this, just like weapons, magic items, characters and monsters, and just I only did like a couple drawings of it. I drew a really badass mind flayer. But even simple stuff like this, I envy. Because I could probably pull stuff off like this. But I just don't have the patience. So wands or maces? Yeah. Oh yeah, maces. Duh. Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, no, but good stuff, man. Good stuff. I like this a lot. Mad props. So, with that being done, I will say that this is officially the end of Elder Vale Campaign Diary stream number 3. Or total Campaign Diary number 3. The second stream. I hope you guys like the live stream format. It does run a lot longer than the produced videos, but I enjoy talking to you guys live a lot more than I do making a video, because making a video involves me sitting there and, you know, just editing, as opposed to me talking live about it is way more fun, and I get to answer questions and respond to suggestions and critiques from you guys as well. So it's way better this way, to me personally. I think you guys can agree. You guys say it's a fun stream, so I'm glad that you guys are enjoying. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a stream right there, guys. Y'all have a great night or day, whatever time of day it is for you. Hope you have a fantastic one. Logie says, cheers, bro. Hope you had fun. It was fun for me. It was good to catch up on it all. I'm glad. Bye-bye, Creative Hate. Also, Tuna on a Roomba says, happy to tune in. First stream here. Nice compliment to Baldur's Gate. Hey, all right, awesome. I'm glad that you're here. We're just now ending. I don't know if you've been here, how long you've been here exactly. If you chatted before, I might have missed it. I apologize. But go back and watch the VOD if you didn't see the whole thing. Glad you've been here. Thank you for your viewership. Much appreciated, Tuna. Yeah, exactly. Editing, Logie, you know, it takes a long time. Stuff. Headley Buddha says, I always try to have something drawn for you because I really like your content. Well, I love drawing contributions. That's like the best thing ever. So thank you for your contributions. So fun. Au revoir. Good night. Night for you. Yeah, night for me too. Good night, everyone. Peace out. Love y'all from the bottom of my DM heart. This is Chris the Absolute DM. Over and out for now. See you guys later. Thanks again for watching. Do I have a thank you screen? Yes, I do. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ah! You were supposed to hear that music. That's my old channel outro music. That was the wrong thing. We'll see ya. Bye, guys. Love y'all.